All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to treat your brain like a computer. We're going to explore this really powerful idea, how you can literally debug your own mind and install a major upgrade to your internal operating system.
Just let that sink in for a second. You know that feeling, right? That little voice of regret about the past or that fear of what's coming tomorrow? What if that isn't some deep personal flaw? What if it's just a technical glitch? A bug in the code that's running your consciousness? That's the core idea we're digging into today. So if we're going to fix a bug, the first thing we have to do is find it, right? Our first step is to pinpoint the source of that relentless internal chatter. You know, that voice that seems to get the loudest right when we really want some peace and quiet. And this is where neuroscience gives us a huge clue. It's something called the default mode network, or DMN. Now, you'd probably assume that when your mind is wandering, your brain is just kind of taking a break. But it turns out the exact opposite is true. The DMN is super active, and it's what's generating all that background noise. It's the brain's idle mode, and believe me, it is anything but quiet.
Okay, so we found our culprit, the DMN. Now let's figure out what's going on. Why is this network even there, and what is it actually doing? Well, this isn't just random static. It turns out it's a very specific feature of a very old and, frankly, an outdated operating system.
The best way to think about the DMN is like an internal editor, a really biased editor. And it's something we all know by another name, the ego. Its job isn't just to process information. Its main function is to edit reality, constantly taking all the raw data of your life and spinning it into a story. And when I say biased, I mean it. Check this out. At any given moment, you're getting hit with about 10 million bits of information from your senses. It's a flood. And what does the ego do? It filters all of that down to a tiny, manageable, and usually negative little narrative. And what's that story about? It's about me versus the world. It's a story that leads to feeling lonely and separate from everything else.
And here is the absolute crucial point. The ego's editing doesn't just create anxiety. It actively builds a firewall in your mind. It's literally designed to reject what some call cosmic signals, that deeper sense of connection, of being part of something so much bigger than yourself.
So here's the core contradiction. The DMN was originally a survival tool. I mean, for our ancestors, its constant what-if thinking helped them spot danger. But in our modern world, that same survival software is just malfunctioning. Instead of protecting us, its constant alerts are creating chronic anxiety and completely blocking our sense of connection. So, if the ego's story of separation is basically an illusion, then what's the reality? Well, to find a new paradigm, we can actually look to modern physics. Okay, stick with me here. There's this principle called quantum entanglement. It's wild. It shows that particles can be so deeply linked that they act as one single system, even if they're separated by vast distances. And this isn't just a cool theory, it's a proven principle of physics. What it suggests is that the universe is fundamentally interconnected. That oneness that our ego is programmed to ignore, it might actually be the true nature of reality. So, if our brain is running this outdated software that's creating an illusion, how do we finally install the upgrade? This brings us to the practical part of our explainer, the actual method you can use to debug your own brain.
And the objective could not be simpler. We need to fire that biased internal editor and just become a receiver of raw, unfiltered reality. We need to stop narrating the moment and just experience it.
This brings us to the how. It's a simple physical debug you can run anytime. First, just take some deep breaths. This immediately tells your nervous system to calm down. Second, ground yourself in the now by focusing on a single sensory detail, the smell of your coffee, the texture of your desk. And third, consciously shift your role. Stop being the editor and just become the observer. When you run this simple little program, you get this state of what I can only call refreshing clarity. By overriding the DMN's constant chatter, you find this moment of profound quiet. You stop listening to the story about reality, and you start experiencing reality itself. But look, this isn't just about feeling better in the moment. This personal debugging process points toward a much larger collective purpose. It's about getting ready for a pretty significant shift in our future. Think of it as an identity defrag, like when you defragment a computer's hard drive. By clearing out the noise and all the old programming of the ego, you're optimizing your own consciousness. You're basically preparing your personal operating system for a massive, network-wide upgrade.
Now, the source material we're drawing from proposes this pretty grand vision. The idea is that the work starts right now with this personal identity defrag. This then leads to a proposed state of ascension through synchronization by 2035, and it all culminates in a theoretical graduation in 2075, where individual stories are let go of in favor of a unified, universal consciousness.
So it really all comes down to a choice that you can make in any given moment. Which signal are you going to tune into? Are you going to listen to the anxious chatter of the ego editor and its story of separation? Or will you choose to listen for that deeper, quieter signal of connection, the cosmic correspondent?
And to conclude, the source material ends with what it calls an important procedure. It states that the comments section serves as an initial sync test for this 2035 network. It says that by typing "ready" in the comments, your consciousness data will be indexed, and that the like button is the approval process to complete your synchronization. That's the vision as it's presented.